This is a response to the amazing atheist's video about Buddhism, the great evil, as he called it. Um, First of all, let me introduce myself. I am an over-fucking privileged white American hippie who smokes pot. If you look over my right shoulder, you'll see that is my anti-war poster. Over here is my Hindu tapestry. Here's my Buddha shirt. So just so you have some idea who you're dealing with. So if you wanted to end the video now, you could. That's fine. But if not, I'm going to go on and try to say where I think you may have mischaracterized Buddhism or misunderstood it. If your only exposure to it is the Four Noble Truths and the Eightfold Path, and I guess a few things that you've read about Cambodia and Tibet and stuff. I can't speak for individual people. I'm trying right now to speak for the essence of a tradition as I see it. So as far as how other people see it, I can't speak for them. But let's get down to Buddhism here. First of all, that word itself, Buddhism, that is an invention. That word is a Western invention. Western scholars, when they first came into contact with the Eastern scripts and texts, lumped them together into this one category, and they called it a religion. It's Buddhism. You know, there's no God, so they even originally referred to it as atheistic, when it has nothing to do with that, because it's the Western tradition finding something totally other and then just framing it into its worldview right away without considering the fact that no, it's not even, it has nothing to do with your worldview. It's a totally separate tradition that developed all on its own with a totally different framework and basic metaphysic and basic understanding. It's totally separate from yours. So for us to even, first of all, define it as this one entity when it's a whole collection of different traditions that constantly are debating one another as to who has the true version. Not only that, but to call it even a religion is mischaracterizing it, because it's not a set of beliefs. And I think to get into just how diverse the tradition is, let's make a distinction right here. There's Theravada Buddhism and Mahayana Buddhism. The Theravada tradition is more mainstream. It's like a folk understanding, and in that sense, you could refer to it as more like a religion, in the sense that the people who are involved in it, they go through certain rituals, and they're just raised into it, so they have this cultural understanding of it, and it's just the way they live their lives. We're Buddhists. That's just the way it is. Whereas on the Mahayana side, it's more esoteric and mystical, and more based on transforming consciousness through meditation, through a specific psychological method. And this brings me to the Four Noble Truths. While if you just read them, they certainly seem pretty simplistic and silly almost. Like, yeah, just think nice thoughts and you'll be happy. I mean, okay, that's not a genuine interpretation of what's being said here, though. Basically, this is a medical diagnosis. You have to think of the Buddha as a psychoanalyst who isn't going out looking for people to convert. He's waiting in his office for people to come to him. So you have a problem. You realize that life is this insolvable dilemma that you can't win, and you realize, oh my God, I'm suffering. So in that sense, you diagnose yourself. But so the first noble truth, that life is suffering. This would be, when a doctor visits a patient, he goes through this 4-step process. First, he identifies the disease, life is suffering. Second, he identifies its cause, and the cause of suffering, second noble truth, is attachment. You suffer because you are attached to what you think are stable elements in the world that are really that are really transient and that aren't, they're appearances. Um, so that's the cause, and the solution or the cure exists, and it's called nirvana, which is nirvana just means release. So it's like originally you have this burning desire to know what the question or the answer to the question of life is, and then nirvana means not that you have an answer to the question, but that the question itself dissolves away. Um, it means just the out breath, to exhale. Nirvana is release. So you're released from your feeling of separateness, basically. And the fourth noble truth is the method for how you're going to bring about this cure. It's the real cure itself, whereas the third noble truth is answering, well, is there a cure? And yes, it's nirvana. The fourth noble truth is, well, here's what the cure itself actually is. You have to meditate. And yeah, I know they have all these lists of things, right action, right speech, right thought, etc. But those are the goal. The Eightfold Path isn't telling you to do these things just by reading them on a list. It's not trying to give you a new vocabulary to understand your life. It's trying to um, point you towards a meditative practice to transform the way you experience being in the world. Not to indoctrinate you with new beliefs and new frameworks about the world. This is about something that's unspeakable because it's not a new dictionary. It's a new way of reading the dictionary. It's a new way of being conscious of yourself in the world. So it's a you meditate to learn to transcend your ego consciousness, to transcend attachment to anything, whether it be your own identity or whether it be material objects in the world, whether it be an attachment to knowledge and ideas and learning, or whatever the attachment be. Uh, the meditative practice is supposed to get you to come to the understanding, the direct experiential awareness of the fact that nothing exists permanently. Everything is in flux, and all the things that you value in your life that you try to own are going to dissolve in your hand. They're going to disappear. And if you think that life is about building up, an empire of wealth, well, it's going to end badly because you're going to die. You're going to get sick, and you're going to get old, and your body's going to fall apart, and it's not going to end well. You can't live forever. When you die, all of it's going to get left here, and you're gone. So, in that sense, that's why the first noble truth is life is suffering. Life is suffering if you're an ego, because the ego dies. The ego suffers. The ego is separate. So therefore, the ego has to fight for survival, and that's not a very enjoyable existence. So again, Buddhism is not a religion. Buddhism is a psychology. It's a method to transform consciousness, to transform your sense of what it is to exist as a human being. I think that covers everything. Thanks for listening.